Word on the street, people. Coming to you live February 25th, the year 2000 and trail, as always. This is special occasion here. It's just going to be me and Jake from the MMA podcast taking your calls if you want to call in. I'm about to tell you the number, guys. But you can also Skype call Word on the Street podcast and join in as well. The phone number is 512-782-WORD. 512-782-9673. Call in, open lines, anything goes, as always, uncensored, no restrictions. I don't give a damn. None of this matters, right? Jake, my co-host and producer from the MMA podcast, what do you hear? What do you say, man? What's up?
We don't have fans. This is a network. You know I love you motherfuckers.
What's going on? Man, I stoned to the gills, pumped to do the word on the street. Tweet us if you don't want to call in at the Aunt Jimmy Show, at the MMA Podcast. Either way, we will read that shit. But for real, call in literally anything that you want to call in with. The number is 512-782-WORD. And word is what? 9673, right?
9673.
That's right. Call us, cocksuckers. Yeah, man, it's been a pretty decent week of mixed martial arts. We had UFC 170. Gil Melendez'es. Oh my God, I'm so pumped. The UFC's keeping him. They're giving him a title shot. They're fucking putting him as a coach on TUF 20, where we'll not only see the lightweight championship on the belt between the two coaches, but the winner of TUF 20 will be the inaugural women's strawweight champion. So, yeah, it's a fucking awesome week of mixed martial arts. Of course, Chael's pet idiot Vanderlei talking shit like he normally is. Apparently, he still needs to sign the contract. A little Yancey boy over there in Brazil refusing to fight the American gangster. I'm sure we'll talk about all of it. But, yeah, man, let's get fucking to
I like
it.
to gamble and I like to snort.
Yeah, man, you pretty much nailed what we're going to be talking about. But first things first, there was a pay-per-view card. UFC 170 went down on Saturday night. I'll get your overall impression of it, Jake, but what I'm really here to talk about is, for anybody that saw it, we're all asking ourselves the same thing, unless, well, half of us were, at least. It was what the hell was going on with Herb Dean? Referee Herb Dean, was he tweaking? What was he smoking, if anything? What was going on there? He was up and down. He couldn't make a good call to save his life that night, which was uncharacteristic of Herb Dean, who is usually at the top of his game, one of the best in the business. But of course, some other people
disagree.
Exactly might feel otherwise. So Jake,
call.
You think Herb Dean was? I mean, come on. You're gonna say he didn't fuck up at all, or are you just gonna say he
really
did,
quickly,
but he's still the best?
Really quickly, just shout out to our boy James Bush. Call into the damn show. But maybe you're at work, you can't really talk. But he tweeted into the damn show, which, if you can't
Jim.
call in, tweeting in is just as good. Thanks a lot, Jim, our buddy Jim Bush. Follow him on Twitter. Everybody right now, go to twitter.com. Follow our buddy at BushJames25. He tweeted at us, Bad Mofo Jojo will be the TUF 20 winner, Joanne Calderwood. I actually I think a couple months ago when the strawweight TUF was announced, I announced that all my chips are in the corner of Joanne Calderwood. She's Scottish or Irish or something. I forget which. I think Scottish, but I have a lot of Scottish and Irish ancestry, so I'm rooting for Bad Mofo Jojo. She's 19-2 in Muay Thai, undefeated in mixed martial arts, 8-0. Going in with a lot of impressive women, Tisha Torres. I don't have the whole list in front of me. Actually, I'm gonna look that up. TUF 20 strawweights.
So they did officially announce all the TUF 20 strawweights?
They announced a lot of them.
Because
Let's see.
basically we bought them from, or the UFC bought them
Yeah,
from Shannon
they
Knapp.
they bought a shitload of straw weights from
They
Shannon
purchased
Knapp.
an entire division from Invicta. They just bought a division, basically.
Pretty much.
Cha-ching.
Carla Esparza and Claudia Gadelha are definite favorites there. You got Rose Namajunas, Tisha Torres, Paige Van Zant, the 19-year-old prospect, Joanne Calderwood, who we were talking about, Juliana Lemia, a lot of people are talking about, Emily Kagan, Beck Hyatt, the Australian, Felice Herrig, who a lot of people talk about for obvious reasons, Alex Chambers. You got a bunch of women who are going to be in that house who are fully capable of there are 3 or 4 names here that could be legit. I mean, just not
Yeah, you
lower
mentioned
level
Felice
talent.
Herrig.
Felice Herrig, yeah.
I'm one of the few that doesn't really kind of follow women's MMA if it ain't in the UFC, except for, of course, Lightning, Liz McCarthy. Shout out.
Shout out.
Yeah, Felice Herrick, I don't know who she is. I followed her just because I saw that Dana White retweeted her, but that's the first I've ever heard of her. What do you mean, obvious reasons, he said?
Yeah, she's featured a bunch. I guess you're not a regular visitor of mixedmartialarts.com, but they seem to feature a lot of photo spreads of her. A very photogenic young lady. Check out the photo spreads if you haven't seen her before. She actually recently fought Tisha Torres and lost, but both of them will be in the house. But with names like Esparza, Gadelha, Lima, Calderwood, Torres, you have a lot of women in that house who are very deserving of a UFC belt. But sorry to get sort of off track from UFC 170, but shout out to our boy James Bush shouting out Joanne Calderwood.
What's up, Jimmy? Man, your life matters. People care.
What up, cocksucker?
UFC 170. We were talking about what the hell Herb Dean
Cocksucker.
was tweaking on, but you disagreed. What you think he was still at his best that night, or do you have some sort of questions, or do you think everything was justified? What's happening, man?
I don't know if you watched the Gracie breakdown of
I didn't.
of the call, but Hannah Gracie, it's like fucking 8 or 9 minutes long. It's pretty long. Go and check it out. The Gracie breakdown UFC
Hang on.
170. Yeah.
I do know that they're close and tight, and he's personal, like one of Ronda's good friends. That's why I didn't immediately watch it, because I can pretty much guess where this is going. But what did the breakdown have to say about it? About the
breakdown
Ronda
said
stoppage?
that when you have a fighter who is down to a liver kick, or in this case a liver knee, the fighter falls and literally has no way of not falling. Falling when you get nailed in the fucking liver. And I actually got nailed once with a stick playing hockey, MMA, football, whatever it is. If you're nailed in the fucking liver, you have you have no control of going down and clutching your fucking stomach. She went down. Rousey was landing shots, and yeah, Herb stepped in, and it sucks. Herb stepped in when McMahon was standing up, and if Herb had waited a half a second to step in, he would have seen that McMahon was stepping up and probably would have backed off. But he stopped the fight because Sarah dropped. She dropped cold. And she didn't drop like someone who was still defending themselves, like Pyle versus Waldberger. Waldberger was actively moving, squirming around, trying to turn, he was being very active, and Herb let it go on maybe a second or two late, but I can see why he let it go, because Pyle was because TJ was, really actively moving around. Sarah dropped to the ground, not guarding her face. Rousey threw 3 strikes. Sarah just was trying to turn her head, doing nothing. Like, she dropped cold. Herb, that's his job. His number one job is to look out for fighter safety. And yeah, Sarah wasn't moving. The Gracie breakdown pretty much said the exact same thing. Actually, Henner showed what would have happened if Herb hadn't have stepped in. Rousey would have stepped in, flipped her over, and pulled off an armbar. So the fight was over either way. Talking about the stoppage, Henner actually made a pretty good point. He has said, I think if this happened in the third round, people wouldn't have been that upset. But the fact that we weren't really able to see that much from Sarah McMahon, it leaves a lot of questions. The Waldberger thing, a lot of people went too long. Just the last main event ended, with Herb. A lot of people said, he has stopped the fight. I have zero problem with either stoppage. Refereeing, it's not an exact science. You can't say, well, he should have stopped the fight at 18, or 3 minutes and 18 seconds exactly. Like, it's a very subjective thing, and maybe with the ends of 169 and 170, if he had waited a second longer to step in, maybe Faber and maybe McMahon would have been able to do something. But in both cases, Herb warned him, and in both cases, the fighter had time to react to the warning and didn't do anything. Faber gave a thumbs up, which by no means is oh, well, I can't stop the fight because he's putting his thumb up. And in McMahon's case, she wasn't doing anything. So, yeah, long story short, I didn't have a problem with this stoppage, similarly to the end of UFC 169.
Well, man, I have to say I am a Ronda Rousey fan. I do like her. She has been sort of halfway on the show before in the past. I mean, the people around her are cool. Like,
no, she's been on the show.
Hating, but I have to say, man, I have to keep it objective here. That was an early stoppage. I'm pretty damn sure, at least I know I would bet fucking all the money in my pockets right now that if it had been McMahon knocking down Ronda, Herb Dean would have let it fly for a little bit. Would have given Ronda a chance to get back up. And of course, McMahon was getting back up. She was. The fact that it is just kind of man, it was. If I were to script like the referee trying to save and protect the fighter and just, like it would have gone down something like that, man. Herb Dean was reffing like they were his two daughters fighting, basically. He was just looking for a reason to stop it in the favor of course, the champion. I'm not saying it was a work, but I'm saying he didn't. I mean, shit.
Wait,
man, when it's for the title.
Let me get the drop in. Wait, you say it wasn't a work?
It was not a work, but do you have something that says otherwise? Was a work, people. Wait. The fight was a work, people.
Yeah. Ramses versus Cyber Ramses.
This one definitely. I don't think it was a work, but it was for the belt. It was for the title, the championship. You have to give McMahon at least a shot, at least a chance to get up. He wasn't interested in that. He just saw her get dropped and he thought it was game over. We've seen other fights where people have taken liver shots and recovered, or I tweeted one out the other day. Probably the most classic UFC liver shot recovery, like everything is all over moment. I don't even remember who the fighters were. They were two, I don't think we've ever seen them since, probably. God, I wish I could remember. But basically, it happened in the UFC. This guy gets punched. These two guys are training buddies or something almost. Guy gets hit right in the liver. He goes down. It looks like, he dropped him. It looked like everything was all over. And so the guy comes swarming in to finish him off. The dude's holding clutching at his fucking side, and then he just uppercuts this guy and knocks him out right as he comes in to finish him. Man, there's
Yeah, I
just
forget fucking who it was. Damn.
I'll look it up right here in a second. But the fact that, my opinion, bottom line, Herb Dean robbed Ronda Rousey of a chance to get a true TKO. Scott Smith was one of the fighters, Joseph Fibonacci.
Scott Smith knocked out
Twitter
Pete
saying
Sell. I think that was at Scott Smith and Pete Sell.
that's what it was exactly. Yes, thank you. John Bon underscore Joey. Joseph Fibonacci on Twitter, man. He came in with that one. But yeah, man, that's a perfect example of, if it had been, I've seen fights get stopped in the UFC that looked exactly like that, where the guy just gets hit, he drops. I mean, the Cowboy was one of them, right? That happened to him with Pettis, right? Didn't Pettis do something like that to him?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but it's like, well, that stoppage you could agree with, because like you could tell the Cowboy was not trying to get back up. Sarah McMahon, however, was clearly. And man, Herb Dean, he was just all over the place. It wasn't just that fight. What about TJ Wahlberger, like getting his face punched in? He was making hamburger out of his fucking face. Mike Pyle was, man. What about that, man? He got
Pyle
knocked out
showed off
more than
some
once.
excellent. Pyle showed off some excellent accuracy. Waldberger was moving around trying to avoid strikes. Pyle didn't miss. He kept landing over and over.
Joseph Fibonacci's also bringing up the Matt Brown versus Jordan Mean fight.
Brown
That's true.
smashed him.
Yeah, but he did get hurt, didn't he? It was like something. I gotta watch that fight again, man. That's the number one reason to keep a service such as the UFC Fight Pass. People get it right now at UFC.tv. You can still catch the premiere. It's gonna come up in 11 days now.
Brown's last 4 fights were all KOs or TKOs. He was about to fight Condit, but had to back out due to a back injury.
Yeah, and he'll be back. That's his whole fucking gimmick. Matt Brown fucking toughens up after taking a few in a fight. It's like he almost has to in every fight. And then he's a goddamn killer. He needs an excuse, man. You got to give him the execution orders, man. You got to give him a reason. And before, I remember talking shit about him to begin with when I first started the podcast game, because I was like, just like, who's Matt Brown? He's not memorable. He hasn't done anything. Well, since then, he's come a long way, man. Dude's a goddamn killer, and he's still underestimated. He's like a Mike Pierce almost. Matt Brown, Mike Pierce, I don't know. I don't know why they can't get what they deserve to get, but they're both going after it. Who knows? Sooner or later. But yeah, man. Wahlberger, man, come on. You don't even think, Jake, that the Wahlberger fight was a little bit of a fuck up on Herb Dean's part? I mean, that dude was knocked out more than once.
I thought he stopped it a little late. I thought he could have stopped it a couple seconds earlier. But the fact that Waldberger never froze up, it never looked like he just stopped. Like the entire time he was flailing around looking to find some sort of a position. At no point was he out cold, not moving, not protecting his head like Sarah McMahon was. He was constantly fighting for position. But yeah, he could have stopped it maybe 2 seconds earlier. But like I said, Pyle, I mean, I have rarely seen guys who have a top position, but not a position dominant enough to stop a guy from squirming around as much as Waldberger did. He was squirming around a lot. Pyle landed almost every shot. That was unbelievable. I think he was the number 15 ranked welterweight going into that fight. He'll definitely move up. That was impressive as fuck. But yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe he could have stopped it a second or two earlier. But at no point was Waldberger motionless, not intelligently defending himself.
Well, it's hard to be motionless when your head keeps getting bounced off the goddamn mat.
No,
You keep
he
getting
definitely
woken up
was
out of his
squirming around.
slumber.
It wasn't like Pyle was bouncing his head like a basketball against the canvas. He definitely was landing shots, but Waldberger was squirming around quite a bit on his own accord.
Well, all I know is his head was bouncing, and you could see his eyes rolling back in his head. And a referee's got to be looking for that. Um, it was a late stoppage. I mean, who are we
Dean
kidding?
is the best referee in the game.
He probably is, but this was definitely an off night, is what I'm saying. And I
Yeah,
was
I
even
mean,
speculating that perhaps his family was kidnapped the night before. Hopefully, he got them back. It sounds like
I
he
mean,
did what he had to do.
I will agree. Maybe he could have let the Rousey fight go another second. Maybe he could have stopped the Pyle fight a second sooner. But these are professionals. He's the best in the game. I thought the Pyle stoppage was acceptable. I thought the Barao stoppage was acceptable. I think the Rousey stoppage is acceptable. And I'm fucking, I'm willing to move on, cocksucker.
Hold on. There's one more thing, though, about the Rousey stoppage and the outcome. I'm not alone here in thinking that the stoppage was a little too soon. I mean, if it had been reversed, if Rousey had gone down from a punch, I think Herb Dean would have given her more of a shot. It is the UFC's champion. It looked like he was in a real big hurry to end that favorably. The first chance he got, he did it. But I'm not the only one who disagrees. If you were listening to the post-fight interview that Ronda Rousey did right after she won with Joe Rogan right there in the octagon, you'll notice someone else was agreeing that maybe the stoppage was a little bit too early, and therefore the win was a little iffy. He was the now classic, instant classic guy booing in the background, sounding like Chewbacca or like he was being tortured on the rack. The ending of Braveheart that you never saw. He was the boo guy. Hopefully we have that audio, Jake. You ready to punch that up? I want to hear this guy just carry on. He was blowing out his own voice. He didn't give a fuck, man. I don't think he was a fan of the decision, man. What do you think, Jake?
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 6 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by TKO and still the undisputed UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion of the World, Ronda Rousey.
She showcased some new skills tonight.
All right, I'm here with the champ, Ronda Rousey. First of all, Ronda, congratulations on an excellent victory against a very, very durable and tough opponent in Sarah McMahon. What was the game plan coming in here tonight, and what, if anything, surprised you?
We studied her videos, and we noticed no one ever really tried to hit her to the body. And since she's a wrestler, she has that bent posture. We felt like it was the best thing to really concentrate on the liver shot for this camp.
Tell me what was going through your mind when you saw the knee land and you saw her give out.
The left knee is what's been working for me the most during sparring this whole camp, and so I just thought if I was looking to stay consistent to that one spot,
He had to catch his
Do you
breath.
think there's ever going to be a time where I interview you where you don't hear boos like this?
It's better because if the person next to you is booing, you want to cheer, then you both want to cheer louder than the other one, so it gets even louder in here. So thank you for the emotion, guys.
Well, listen, you did exactly what you had to do. Congratulations, defending your title, and I can't wait to see you fight again.
I just want to thank all my friends, my teammates, my family. I love name everyone for name, but I appreciate you, and I'll see you in a second.
The champ, ladies and gentlemen, Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey, 9-0. Fastest knock.
If you have any information about who that man was, contact me. He would catch his breath. You could tell he would take at least 2 or 3 breaths before each one.
Beautiful.
He would immediately blow him out. Like, this guy put some money down and lost some, I gotta say. Or maybe he was related to Sarah McMahon. I don't know, but yeah, if you're gonna boo, you gotta put your heart and soul into it like that man did. He obviously had good seats. He was able to shout directly into somebody's microphone, like distance. either the Octagon mics or Joe Rogan's himself. I don't know. He got a good. He was up there close. All right, that was ridiculous.
That was awesome. Boo!
The passion.
His voice is cracking and shit. He really did not enjoy Ronda Rousey winning the championship. He mad.
It's like he sounded like in the Goonies when they're torturing Sloth on the chair with the candy bar. And like Sloth is trying to break out of his shackles. That's the exact same noise, I swear to God. Well,
I think I got it queued up here.
Sloth yelling or some shit. It's quick if you do, man.
Quick shout out to the UFC for the clip we just played of the Ronda Rousey interview. Subscribe to them
Of course.
on YouTube. Ultimate Fighting Championship, obviously.
Also, UFC.tv. Get your fight pass. Keep it, people. The free trial is over. They're only going to be upgrading it, adding more content, more exclusive content. For instance, the Saturday's card you'll only be able to see on Fight Pass. The entire season of The Ultimate Fighter, Sonnen versus Vanderlei Silva, is going to be available on Fight Pass. Shit. How else would you watch it? Downloading every episode, maybe, or getting the entire DVD set when it came out. That'd work out to the same amount of money, but you're not getting live events. You're not getting the Fight Pass behind-the-scenes exclusives. You're not getting the UFC library, which is currently expanding, people. I'm not sponsored in any way by the UFC. My thoughts and opinions do not reflect those of the UFC or Zuffa or any of the fighters, any of the guests on this show, by the way. How's that, lawyers?
I tried to give it to you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't do what? I didn't do it. I'm sorry. What? Jeez, mister.
That is Sloth booing the stoppage of UFC 170. Herb Dean, was you tweaking is what I got to say. Herb Dean, what the fuck, man? You saw him walking out of the octagon shaking his head. What do you think? He was just disgusted at the crowd or himself, man?
I think he was walking out of there like, damn, I got a hot-ass blonde prostitute waiting in my hotel room. I'm about to turn that bitch out.
Yep. He had to choke a bitch, throw her down the goddamn garbage disposal.
Cocksucker.
We all been there at 3 a.m. Or am I kidding?
I just put 2 fingers in there. I searched around her asshole.
You know how many people end up dead in Vegas? Nobody gives a shit.
And her asshole smells like fucking wine and cigarettes and shit.
That's right, man. Speaking of UFC 170, let's talk about the 2 more topics real quick. Rory McDonald real quick versus Damian Maia. This fight, it did get performance or fight of the night or some bullshit like that. One of them. It was a good match. It was entertaining, but it was pretty pathetic seeing that Roy does not appear to have despite being the psycho, he does not appear to have the killer instinct. Damian Maia rocked, mentally defeated, shooting takedowns that weren't worth a damn. He was basically collapsing at Rory's feet, just happy to just not be standing anymore. He was throwing slow motion punches after the first round. He was totally gassed, winded. He had nothing. Roy sees this, is in better condition than Damian, but he still insisted on playing it safe. Didn't go for the kill, even though he's seeing this man in front of him wobbly. Shang Tsung would be screaming, "Finish him!" The words were appearing on the screen in front of my very eyes. Damian Maia was ready to be taken out. He could not even throw a punch at full speed. He could barely lift his hands. He was gassed as fuck. He had nothing left, and Rory McDonald still held back, played it safe, GSP'd it, just went for the win, the safe thing, instead of moving in, sweeping in for the finish. What the fuck, man? Am I off here, Jake? What did you think of that fight?
I thought Rory, he wasn't, as aggressive as the most aggressive guys in the UFC, but it was a step up in aggression, which I like to see. I enjoy Rory for no other reason than he's so weird. He's like literally the pre-fight press conference, like people would be making jokes and the camera would be zoomed out and you'd see 5 or 6 people on the dais or on the podium, and someone would make a joke and everybody on the podium would laugh except for Rory McDonald, whose face wouldn't budge at all. Have you ever seen the movie American Psycho, Ramses?
I celebrate it every day.
Alright. Rory McDonald is the Canadian Psycho. I don't care if he wants to call himself the Water Boy, if he wants to call himself Ares. He needs to start coming out to Have to Be Squared by Huey Lewis and the News. It is so crazy how just like Patrick Bateman, like outside of the action scenes, he's just so emotionless. And when he's in the cage, he's working back to his roots where he used to just be a complete animal and be so vicious. His last couple fights, he didn't show it at all. He's getting back there. It might take more than one fight to get back to his roots, but I like him getting back to just his psychotic, vicious, nasty ways in the fucking cage. If he does, I'm a fan of his. I'm not one of these bitter fucking fans. BJ Penn and Chael Sonnen are my favorite fighters of all time. Rory put it to my boy Penn. If Rory can get back to the aggressive Rory, I don't care if he beat Penn. Rory can be one of my favorite fighters, but the way he's fought in his last couple fights before Maya, I just wasn't digging it. This, he's not all the way back, but at least he's back. At least he's being a little aggressive.
I agree, man. That's why I'm saying he does present himself as the Psycho, but this fight, Damian Maia was staggering around, just punching at his ghost, at shadows, throwing slow motion shit, man. He was begging, he was screaming, "Finish me!" But even that, Rory couldn't finish that guy right in front of him when somebody's that drained, and he couldn't even go for the finish. He didn't even attempt to end it. He played it safe, just like GSP in that camp taught him. And that's boring, Rory. All right, you probably will get a title shot, but you're just gonna fucking bore us with that one and
Did
take
you see
everybody's
his
money.
tweet? Dude, if Patrick Bateman was a UFC fighter, he would tweet the same shit that Rory tweets. Rory tweeted like that night or the day or two after the fight. He tweets, "I would like to fight the winner of Johnny Hendricks and Robbie Lawler at Dana White at UFC." Like, that guy's so fucking nutty.
And he's fucking just cutting himself wide open, man. I don't know what the hell that was. Remember when he tried to get out of the BJ Penn fight because of that weird ass cut that came out of nowhere over his eye? What's with this guy, man? He's always split himself open for a fight, dude. I don't know, man. Something about this kid. If he had gone in and finished Damian Maia when he was throwing wind at him, he was throwing dust. Maia was done, man. He had nothing. And Roy, his whole thing is fucking being in good condition. He's a young guy. He didn't go for it. He didn't go for the kill. I'm not saying I don't respect his win, but yeah, man. He was lucky that he got performance or fight of the night or wherever the hell it was, man. because I wasn't that impressed, and he could do a lot better. He needs to do a lot better. He could have blown away Damian Maya and then immediately asked for the title shot, and that would be undeniable. But now it's like, yeah, we'll see what works out. Whatever's going to make the most money next. If I was the UFC, that's what I'd be saying. Anyway, last topic about UFC 170, of course, the what everybody was calling the squash match. Cummins versus Daniel Cormier. Jake, we sold a bunch of Wolf tickets. What do you have to say about this fight in hindsight? I'll get your opinion first.
They're selling y'all Wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up. George here is selling you Wolf tickets. Dana here, he's selling you Wolf tickets. The UFC is selling you some Wolf tickets.
Damn.
You guys are eating them right up.
Shit. You got a point, man.
That's all you gotta say, bro.
I hear you, man. I mean, what else needs to be said? Patrick Cummins, Daniel Cormier. If ever you were gonna disagree that works don't happen, this was basically one where they didn't even try to like build the fourth wall. There was even no curtain. The fight was a work, people. It was just one of these where it's like, we found one of his training partners from back in the day. This is good enough. This guy, we sign him. Patrick Cummins already has 2 more fights coming to him in the UFC. I think he did his job. I think he got in there and did what he had to do. First chance, first out he took. Of course, I've seen UFC 170. I've seen that fight at least 3 or 4 times. Even on the broadcast, the re-airing of the finish is, you can see the uppercut clearly grazes his head and Pat flops down to his knees, and then from there it's game over. Cummins, man, he should be in the WWE, man. He was rolling with those punches. He was getting in close to the clinch for the specific reason of not getting hurt too bad by DC's strikes. Of course, DC probably, I'm not saying he probably even knew, but I mean, he had to have at least guessed. I mean, this guy they weren't throwing him anything serious. He knew he had this one in the bag. That's why he made weight, at least allegedly. Neither of these guys looked to be 205 when they went in, I got to say. But I still enjoyed the fight. God bless him. I'm glad it happened. Like I said, I enjoy, even if it was a work or a squash match or like just totally one-sided. I look at it like I like spectacle fights too. I'll admit, who doesn't, man? A gimmick fight. They sold this one, man. They sold this one, and I bought it, and I enjoyed it, man. What happened was exactly what we all knew was going to happen. But, yeah, I'm just glad the kid made it out there safe. He didn't get hurt, of course. Pat Cummins is going to be back. They should put him up against Latifi. Jake, man, where do you think? Because I don't know if this gets Daniel Cormier to a fucking title shot automatically, but obviously that's what they're building towards. That's where they're gearing it up. You think he's got the winner of Jones versus Gustafsson or Jones versus isn't that the next one for him?
Ramses Lopez, you've plumb done it now. You crossed the line, bud. I will make you pay dearly. Your words, you will be in dire straits because of them, bud. I mean, because you've never been the guy. I'm the guy, buddy. Ramses, this is not for you, bud. I'm not even calling you Ramses anymore. You are R, okay, Ramses?
That's exactly the other thing, man. Like, everything about Daniel Cormier's anger was just fake as hell, guys. Come on. He's not the best actor. I didn't buy it for 1 second.
That was so good.
DC was selling that fight because he was like, oh,
Ramses, I've respected you for a long time, but for you to come on television and to mock me, that really pisses me off, bud. You can't just go on television and start talking about me outside of the wrestling room. All right, Ramsey, it was just like it was not angry at all.
Like the showdown was like through video screens, like right away, and you're like, oh,
And like
okay.
literally,
And then-
the freeze frame of Daniel Cormier, quote unquote, shoving Cummins, like he grabs him under his armpits. It looks like he's just tickling him. Come here, my little man.
those were vicious underhooks, dude. Don't be mistaken by a freeze frame. He picked him up and threw him halfway down the strip, is what I heard, man. But they didn't show that, dude. The vicious underhooks. But yeah, man, the view screen, the showdown on Fox with Cummins, that was complete. I'll give it to him because people like bought it and people hyped it. That goes to show you how much the media knows. Like they're hyping that shit. Like it's like what they don't even know they're covering. Well, the DC thing that got to me was the God damn it, was it? Oh, when he was like I'm not even gonna call you Pat anymore. It's just Patrick from now on. In case
Okay, Pat.
in case anybody thinks that we're friends, like he just says that, like in case anybody thinks that we're friends. Like no one had even said anything to him. That's such a random. Like, why would he say that? Like at that moment. Like, in case anybody thinks we're friends, I'm gonna call you Pat instead of Patrick. Like, Jesus, man. Even Vince McMahon hires better writers. I gotta say, man, the UFC creative team could use a little boost. I am always willing and ready, of course. I'm a writer myself. But yeah, that's it for 170, man. It was obviously, well, not wolf tickets. I mean, who knows, man? Maybe you never know these days. They might just throw a shoot at you just randomly just to try to get rid of a guy. Yep.
Quickly, speaking about the UFC creative team or whatever. If you are putting the UFC in that light, who's the biggest heel in the UFC? Who is the biggest heel and who's the biggest face?
That's the one that they're trying to put on, or the one that's actually becoming a heel. I gotta say, like,
Ronda Rousey is becoming quite a heel.
She's an unintentional heel, basically. That I mean, they're not planning on people on the Ronda hate in the UFC. That comes out of nowhere, but yeah, she's one of the most believable heels.
Jones, you got to think of as a heel now. I mean, people in his own country don't really support him that much.
It's another unintentional heel. Him and Ronda are supposed to, I mean, they come out wearing UFC gear. That's who they're sponsored by. I mean, they're the company's champions. And to see them get booed is definitely not in the game plan, but I mean, it's working. As long as you're selling a fight. But yeah, it's them too. They are the biggest heels for sure.
Chael?
See.
What about
Yeah,
Chael,
definitely.
man?
Definitely, but that's like one of the he's the bad guy that everybody roots for, though. He's not a heel anymore. He tries to put himself that way, but I mean, let's face it, Vanderlei took that over, man. Vanderlei is the heel in this one.
I wore a T-shirt that's in medium rare to UFC 167. I got so many angry looks from people. People don't like Chael.
Nah, fuck them, man. Nah, they just don't know him. But I don't really think there's any more hate like on him anymore. Of course, we'll see, man. We'll fucking see. Definitely in Brazil, he's gonna almost get booed out of the damn stadium. That goes without saying. That's gonna be a tough one for him, man. But hopefully, enough of you out there are gonna support him.
You were talking about Daniel Cormier before, though, talking about his future opponents. I never really answered the question.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, what the fuck, man? Is this a setup for Jones and Gustafson?
Glover's
Or
gonna
Glover?
fight.
Glover's not gonna win.
Glover's gonna fight Jones next. Jones will probably win. Jones after that will probably fight Alexander Gustafsson next. So Cormier likely will need to fight a top opponent to face off against John Jones. I don't think Rashad will be able to come back from his knee surgery in time to get that fight against Cormier, which really is a shame because that'd be an amazing fight. I think we see Cormier fight the winner of Phil Davis and Anthony Johnson. And the winner of that fight will face off against the winner of Jones Gustafson 2. After that, after we see Cormier move up, the winner of Rumble Davis move up, honestly, the 205 picture, you're looking at the winner of Shogun Hua versus Dan Henderson being maybe a couple wins away from a title shot. We'll definitely see there. But yeah, I think Cormier will face the winner of Phil Davis and Anthony Rumble Johnson at UFC 162, or sorry, UFC 172, which will be April 26th at the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland.
I don't even think they'll waste time with that. I think Cormier's got whoever's next. Of course, obviously, I don't believe Glover is going to win. Again, just my opinion. Got to keep it real. Glover couldn't even put the nail in the coffin on Rampage when they. I mean, Glover carried Rampage throughout that entire fight. I know a lot of people disagree. They don't think this shit happens. Trust me, he could have killed Rampage at any point. He didn't. Why not? The fight was a work, people. Well, he was just, you got to tell one fighter to carry the other. He's obviously out of his mind, not in the game anymore, not even capable of taking on someone at Glover's level. Give me a fucking break, people. That should have been a slaughter. All right? It was not. Watch it again. Rampage has carried the whole entire fight. Now, that says that Glover's a company man. There's no way he beats Jones because of that. And just skill-wise also. I mean, assuming Jones is healthy, he could probably take Glover, but it's not even going to come down to that. I don't believe it's going to be a serious match. I think they're setting up Cormier to take him on next. Why else would they, just give him this opportunity to build up his cred at 205? Why would you give him a chance? After his lackluster performances and the money he's costing you, come on, give me a break.
I think Gustafson gets a shot before Cormier just because their last fight was so close. And a win against Jimmy Manuwa does definitely vault him back up. But I actually specifically remember December 31st, 2012. I was sick as shit, house sitting for my aunt and uncle in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I remember doing the Word on the Street podcast 12/31/2012, 2 calendar years ago. And I remember watching the ball drop, watching Kathy Griffin sexually harass Anderson Cooper, doing the podcast with you, with Chris, a couple other people. I think that Nicholas Moen guy was on. I think Gavin Frost actually called in, and you asked, going forward in 2013, what fight do you want to see more than any other? You asked this, over a year ago, and a lot of people said GSP Silva. I think the most popular answer was John Jones versus Anderson Silva. I chose Daniel Cormier against John Jones, and it's still the fight. Since then, I've wanted to see more than any other fight, and I love how we're getting closer and closer and closer to it. Daniel Cormier offers an extremely good skill set to match what John Jones has. He does. He has Olympic level wrestling. John Jones got out wrestled by Alexander Gustafsson. I'm sorry, and as far as striking, Cormier has struck with harder hitters than Jones. Roy Nelson hits harder than John Jones does, and Cormier dominated him. I mean, I really think Cormier could take like a 49-46 decision against John Jones. Just fuck him up pillar to post.
I don't think he has any advantages, man. I mean,
He has the strength
in my mind,
advantage.
he's half his size.
He doesn't have as much reach as him, but he has the strength and the wrestling advantage, which is huge.
Yeah, but John
And he's
doesn't
not
play that
totally
close game.
and he's not totally overmatched striking. I mean, this is a guy who's outstruck.
John is a really big motherfucker, though, man.
Daniel Cormier is in the top 10 of UFC and Strikeforce combined history of outstriking opponents. He outstrikes everyone, whether it's Bigfoot, Josh Barnett, Frank Mir, Roy Nelson. He fucking is not a slouch striking. I fucking think that if Cormier keeps moving forward like Gustafsson did, Gustafsson really exposed a huge hole in John Jones' game. Whether Jones can shore that up, we'll see.
Yeah, man, but is there any picture of John Jones and Daniel Cormier together side by side? I'd like to see that. I just don't. I know he's strong or whatever, but John.
Let's
dude,
not keep
he's
in
got at
mind
least 10
it's
years on him.
It's a guy moving down from
Bigger,
heavyweight.
faster.
I mean, you want to talk about a size differential? Daniel Cormier was just up in the heavyweights, beating up 265-pound men, son. Whether it was Barnett, Bigfoot Silva, Frank Mir, Roy Nelson, all of these durable people, Daniel Cormier put it to him. I mean, it's not like Cormier's moving up in weight; he's moving down in weight. I mean, he's not a tiny little 205er.
He's moving down in weight, but he's facing the fucking champion who should be and practically is a heavyweight, except he just happens to drop down to 205. John Jones is no fucking. It's no joke, man. Like, I don't think that Daniel Cormier has anything. Like, on paper, he has no advantage whatsoever over this man.
On paper, Gustafsson has even less advantage over Jones than Cormier does.
No, because they're roughly the same size.
I mean, size and skill are just as equal. Cormier is
I'm just saying
maybe
Cormier has no advantage whatsoever. He's got nothing.
wrestling and
Jones.
strength. Wrestling and strength. He is an Olympic wrestler. He went to the Olympics twice.
John Jones is probably. I don't know about the wrestling records. I don't even. But I know that like
he couldn't take down Alexander Gustafsson, and Alexander Gustafsson took him down in the last fight.
I'd like to see a wrestling match between John Jones and Daniel Cormier. I'd like to see that, but I know how it would go. I really don't think Cormier beats him in any area, is what I'm saying, man, just because of his frame, dude. But I guess we'll see it. But you mentioned that Phil Davis versus Anthony Johnson would be a deciding, like, gatekeeping, like, title contendership, possibly. I can see them giving a championship title fight to Phil Davis, but come on, Anthony Johnson, that'd be too soon. If he even if he beat the fucking shit out of Phil Davis, you really think they're gonna give the next title shot to Anthony Johnson?
Davis is the number 4 ranked light heavyweight currently. Currently, you have the champion John Jones. This is your top 5 or your top 6 at light heavy. You get your champion John Jones. Number 1, Alexander Gustafsson, which is the reason why I think Gustafsson will get a shot sooner than Cormier. Gustafsson's 1, Cormier's 6. You have Glover sitting at 2. So 1 and 2, Glover and Gustafsson, in my opinion, the next 2 guys who will get title shots. Even though, spoiler alert, I'm gonna a preview to next week. I don't know if Alexander Gustafsson is going to be able to get past his next opponent in Jimmy Manuel. We will see. But Alexander Gustafsson, number 1. Glover, number 2. Rashad Evans, number 3, out with an injury. Phil Davis, number 4. Little Nog, number 5. He's don't even... I mean, you may as well think of Cormier as number 5 because Little Nog isn't nearly as close to a title shot as Cormier is. But yeah, if if Johnson beats Davis, he definitely vaults up some, and maybe fights Cormier. I don't know. That would be a pretty interesting fight. He'd either probably fight Cormier or the winner of Shogun versus Hendo. But in all likelihood, the winner of that fight would be Phil Davis. I think we see Jones, Glover. I think Gustafsson will edge out Manawa. And then we see Jones, Gustafsson, and then Jones fight the winner of Cormier versus Phil Davis. I think Cormier grinds out a win against Phil Davis just like he did, or just like Rashad did against Davis.
Well, we'll see what happens in the fucking Phil Davis versus Anthony Johnson fight, which I have no interest in whatsoever.
I think if Phil survives that first round, he's won the fight.
No kidding, man. And he probably will. That's Phil's whole fucking game plan, just survive. Fucking eke out the decisions. I'm not impressed, if you can't tell, by Phil Davis. But, alright, who knows what the hell we're going to find out about that shit. Let's talk about the immediate future. Saturday, a UFC Fight Night card going down, starting if you're in Texas. First fight starts at around 4:45 a.m. Saturday morning. I will be up, ready, and watching on the UFC Fight Pass. If you don't have it, you won't be seeing these fights. I'm sorry. That's how it goes. You'll have to download them. Illegally, probably. I don't know. I don't know how it works with fight nights, actually. Broadcasted in some areas, I'm sure, but the UFC Fight Pass on UFC.tv is the best way to watch these fights in high quality HD, available streaming. You can replay it as many times as you want. Multiple camera angles, this and that. All the works. Saturday starts in the morning. It's in Macau, China. I don't know how you pronounce that city. Headlined by Yum Yum Kim versus John Hathaway.
Cocksucker.
And then also we have Sean Jordan versus Matt Mitrione fighting. I thought these guys were out of the UFC already. I thought they'd retired.
You know, we've got like 3 fights that all of them, they really could be loser leave town matches. In Mitrione versus Jordan, both of them are not on good streaks. In Minjavar versus Hatsuhioki, they aren't on good streaks. And in Nam Fan taking on Vaughn Lee.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. Nam Fan versus Vaughn Lee, man. Nam Fan, of course, I'm inclined to lean his way just because I know him a little bit better, and he's been cool with a few guys on Twitter. So based on that alone, I'll just be rooting for him just because this Vaughn Lee guy, I don't know too much about him. I know he fought a couple months ago, and I know I saw it, but I don't remember it. That's how it goes, man. What do you got in this fight, man? Actually, any of these fucking Yum Yum Kim versus Hathaway, Sean Jordan versus Mitrione, Nam Fan versus Vaughn Lee. You mentioned Menjivar versus Hatsuhioki. Real quick, call those fights, man. How do you see them going?
Well, Hioki's a guy that had a lot of hype behind him when he joined the UFC. He actually was offered a title shot against Jose Aldo at one point. Since then, I think he's lost 3 in a row. Just not really able to keep up with the elites of his division. He's taken on Ivan Menjivar, who's sort of been in the same boat. We also have, like we mentioned, Matt Mitrione taking on Sean Jordan, a couple of ex-football guys. I don't know if Sean Jordan ever was in the NFL. I know he played for LSU. Mitrione did play briefly in the National Football League. The other fight we were talking about, Nam Fan taking on Vaughn Lee. I don't really know much about Lee, so sort of like you, I'm leaning toward Nam Fan. You left out our boy on the prelims, son. Or
no,
maybe you were planning
I was sectioning him off, actually.
All right, cool. And as far as Yum Yum Kim taking on John Hathaway, both of these guys have such great records, and this is the one fight I'm really looking forward to. There were originally supposed to be 2 TUF China finales, One of them was canceled because of an injury. The other one, I think it's Wang Sei versus another guy whose name I totally forget. The only reason I remember Wang Sei is because I picked him in the TUF China side game on the MMA Playground. So if he wins, I win the side game. Hell yeah. But yeah, he's fighting in the finale. I haven't seen an episode of Tough China. Earlier today, I spoke with Ray about it, and he said he watched every episode, and it was complete dog shit. Yeah.
Somebody watched every episode.
Yeah, Ray watched every damn episode. He's probably the only person. But yeah, as far as Yum Yum Kim versus John Hathaway, Yum Yum has an impressive record. He's really only lost one fight. He has 2 losses on his record. One was a legit KO loss against Carlos Conduit, and the other one was a TKO loss against Damian Maia, but he had a muscle spasm and like his ribs or something during the fight, and he just couldn't go on, and he collapsed without any, without being fucked up at all. So that was a really freak loss, and most people don't really count that against him too much. On the other side, you have John Hathaway, who has a single loss on his record as well. I'm leaning Yum Yum. Vegas is leaning Yum Yum. Yum Yum has pretty good striking. In his last fight, he knocked out Eric Silva. People call it a lucky punch, but a knockout's a knockout. He's a 4th Dan black belt in judo. He has, he's as Jay put it on the MMA Roundtable just about 7 or 8 hours ago. It's the best wrestler England has ever produced versus the best wrestler South Korea has ever produced. And it's going to be a fun fight, but I got Yum Yum Kim. No. Honestly, Dong Yum Kim.
Just stretching
Kim.
For
No, Kim.
but all right.
But really, Dong Yum Kim is the best wrestler to ever come out of South Korea, and John Hathaway is the best wrestler to ever come out of England and the UK as far as the UFC goes. I mean, not like Olympic wise, but like UFC wise, there have been no fighters from either country that have his wrestling as good as either guy.
John Hathaway's a killer, I'll give you that, man. This fight should be interesting. You're going for Yum Yum Kim. I got to say, man, I've never forgiven him.
Cocksucker.
I've never forgiven him for the Maya fight where he just collapsed from what?
Have you ever had a random
the Sarah McMahon syndrome or something?
I was a senior in high school, and we were doing 2-a-day practices in basketball. It was like a Thursday. I was worn out because on top of 2-a-day practices, I was like running around my neighborhood 3 miles a night because I was insane, and I was like, oh, I gotta be in the best shape of my life for basketball. And even though this doesn't really fucking matter at all, but I was working my fucking ass off. One morning, my parents had already left for work. I had to catch the school bus in like 10 minutes, which, is only a few minute walk away. And I was taking the trash out before I closed the garage door and, walked out to school. And I bent over to pick up a recycling bin, and I had a muscle spasm, and I like fell over to my side like a turtle with my backpack on and everything, and I had to take my backpack off laying down, and I just couldn't move. It was the weirdest shit. It was just weird. Like, I just couldn't move, and I called my mom and called her home from work. I was like, oh, I can't move. And I went to a doctor, and the doctor's like, have you been like really exercising a shitload? I'm like, yeah, I've been like working out 3 times a day. And he's like, yeah, how about you stop doing that, and you take these Loratabs, and you rest your back for a while. And man,
your muscle just tore apart and took a nerve with it, man.
It was crazy.
That'll do it, man. It's close to the back, dude, especially, dude. Your muscle tears apart. There are nerves attached to those muscles, and that's it, man. It'll fucking do pain transfer on your ass.
And fucking quick. Kim, that's why I can't rule anything against Kim, because of muscle spasm. I ain't even fucking around with that kind of an injury.
It don't matter to me, man. He's a fighter. UFC 148. I won't forget that, man. He cost me a little bit of money, all right. And then he's able to fucking just knock out Eric Silva like it's nothing. Which one is it? Which Yum Yum Kim is gonna show up to this fucking fight? Shit. I'll go with him, just given the circumstances, headlining in China. So of course I'll go with Yum Yum Kim. We'll see how much of a wrestler John Hathaway really is, if you know what I'm saying. Much of
And
a pro
actually,
wrestler.
I'll recite a quote from July 7th, 2012. And this was the fight. This was tweeted out the night that Kim lost to Damian Maia, UFC 148, which also was Silva versus Sonnen 2. Diaz tweeted out, "Fuck Yum Yum Kim and his spare rib. I had Silva, you banjo playing cocksuckers. Ha ha ha." And I'll retweet that right now. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Those Diaz brothers, man. Didn't he come out saying he was only going to come back for a title fight? Yeah, why the hell not?
Joey Diaz, I was talking about, tweeted that.
Oh, I was sorry. I was already thinking of Nick Diaz. But yeah, he did come out this week saying he would only make a comeback if it was for a title fight, because of course he's already fought contenders and has no interest in doing that. He wants a title fight. And of course, why wouldn't he say that after one of his buddies and friends said the same damn shit and got it going for him? Gilbert Melendez, man. I'm only coming back to the UFC if I get a guaranteed title fight. It happened. But before we get there, real quick, this Saturday on the UFC Fight Night, which is going to be fight morning over here in the US, that's the way it goes. Just if you're a real fan of MMA, you'd be prepared for it, man. You'd get up in the morning like it was Saturday morning cartoons.
Yep.
And you'd get on that UFC.tv and you'd sign up for that fucking fight pass. You'd watch the UFC in Macau, China. You'd see this shit. Why? Because, yeah, they'll have Yum Yum Kim, Hathaway, Sean Jordan, Mitrione, a loser leaves town match, apparently, hopefully. I didn't even know these guys were in the UFC. Nam Pham versus Vaughn Lee. We'll go for Nam Pham, just because he's a cool guy, I guess. But the fight that I want to see, the only fight that matters to me that I give a shit about, honestly, is current, always and forever Team Darkside member, Team Sonnen from The Ultimate Fighter Season 17, Zach Cummings is fighting in the UFC on this card on Saturday morning against Alberto Mina, the Soldier of God. He's, quote, the Soldier of God is his fighter nickname.
He's undefeated.
10-0 record, but yet he has no picture on the UFC website. Something stinks and isn't adding up, but hopefully Zach is more than prepared now. He's had to do battle in foreign countries before. He's ready for this shit, man. He's got this down. Zach Cummings is also undefeated in the UFC. Like I said, man, Team Darkside, Team Sun, we've had him on the show. We've interviewed him. Nice guy, honest guy, down to earth. A little bit of an injury setback, but he came in. He did his thing. He's had at least, 2 wins now or something in the UFC officially, not to mention the tough wins. I am going for him, backing him 100%, man. Hope he stays safe out there. Don't let them poison you. You're going to defeat this soldier of God, and you're going to teach him the harsh truth. His God is a lie. All right, Zach Cummings, you are righteous. God bless him. What do you think about this fight, man? You got the other guy? 10-0 guy?
Look, this guy, Alberto Mina, I tried to find some sort of information on him. I tried to find out his background. I spent countless amounts of money hiring private investigators, hiring these internet search services to figure out who is Alberto Mina. I sent the UFC, I sent him emails asking, who is this guy? Where did you sign him from? Who are these guys he's faced? Nothing. I tried to contact his manager. I got a response back. It was a bogus email address. I tried to respond to his gym. Again, bogus email address. And I was thinking about it. Who could this be? Alberto Mina. And then I think I realized who it was. This Daida guy knows he cannot make himself known in any country other than Brazil after assaulting Chael Sonnen. I think Andre Daida has assumed a false identity in Alberto Mina to try and get close to Team Darkside, to try and get close to Chael Sonnen. He's still thirsty for blood. He didn't get satisfaction the first time around. He wants to finish the job. He wants to get back within striking distance of Chael, Clayton, Jamie, whoever I can. This guy has it out for Team Darkside, and we have to make sure he doesn't win this fight, doesn't make it to America. Zach Cummings is going to knock him out in the first round.
I'm also predicting a first round finish by Zach Cummings. Interesting theory there, man. I hadn't heard that, but that is the word on the street now officially, man. It came from Jake. I trust him.
I have
Alberto.
2 qualified, credible sources telling me that I'm correct.
Alberto Mina, man. I also believe I've heard from someone else that these guys' records in China are questionable, to say the least. I heard a lot of this shit is bullshit. Who knows? It's China. Paperwork is hard to come by and verify. It's probably costing a damn fortune just to pull this off. I'm glad the UFC did it. For instance, they never get credit, man. You don't see the NFL going into China. What the fuck? The UFC did it. It happened. Boxing matches in China. You really see too much crossover here. No, you don't, man. Who's the last Chinaman that Floyd Mayweather fought? I don't know. Can you name him? I fucking can't. The land of the rising sun, people. Zach Cummings, you're going to tear it up in the first round. I also agree with Jake on that prediction. But yeah, one of the last topics I want to get to while we're talking about Zach Cummings from The Ultimate Fighter, we can transition straight into what Jake brought up about what was his stupid name? The guy that sucker punched Chael, Andre Dade.
I think it was Dido. Yep.
Something ridiculous.
Dida.
Wasn't it Dida?
It's Andre Dida, but we were calling him Dido.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. Andre Dade. You coward. Sucker punching the American gangster. What the fuck were you thinking, man? You hit a made man, dude. You never raise your fist or strike a made man. You know what's gotta happen now. It's fucking... Your friends are gonna get a fucking phone call on a payphone, phone booth. It's gonna be like saying, Andre Dida, he's gone. Nothing we can do. Goodfellas style, man. But
we thought he was a made man.
But of course, anybody that's still a fan of this guy, maybe doesn't believe it, doesn't think the Rumble in Brazil really went down. There's only one way to find out. If I haven't stressed this enough, the Ultimate Fighter, Chael Sonnen versus Vanderlei Silva, is going down. Actually, now here in my time, in 11 days, you will see the premiere of TUF Brazil Sonnen versus Silva. 11 days, only on the UFC Fight Pass. Keep it around. It's $9.99 a month. The show's going to air for 2 months, so right there, if you just stick around just to watch the Ultimate Fighter Sonnen versus Silva, the most it's going to cost you is $20, and that's to watch a whole season on HD, downloading to your system if you want. I mean, come on. That alone is worth it. That's within the DVD set it's going to be when it comes out.
Should we just carve out a couple minutes?
You'll see Saturday's card without it. You won't be able to see a number of UFC fights go down without it. Keep in mind, it is a package deal. $9.99 ain't too bad, people. It's worth it. Trust me. They're building the library. And now here comes the first exclusive flagship TV show on the UFC Fight Pass. And it's got your man, Chael Sonnen, the People's Champion. It's worth it. It premieres Sunday, March 8th on the UFC Fight Pass only if you're in this country. Unless you're in Brazil, then it's going to be on Globo.
Yo.
I think in certain parts of South America, you're going to see it on the Globo network for free. But if you're not there, which is most of the people listening, I don't know why anybody those Portuguese would be listening to this show.
Can you hear me?
God bless you if you are. Obrigado.
Ramses, can you hear me right now?
So in 11 days, we will have Coach Jamie, the living legend, Huey on to kind of tell us what he can, what he's legally allowed to kind of be broad about. It's going to be our second go around with Team Sun and coach, boxing, striking coach, training partner, Jamie Huey. He was there. He's been on both teams, both Team Sunnins on The Ultimate Fighter. He just got back from Brazil. The word in the street is he's back in the States today. He'll be joining
Yo, Ramses,
us.
Can you hear me?
Week.
Test.
The show. He's gonna
can you
give us
hear me,
a quick
Ramses?
The next show is going to be.
What the hell?
When he comes back, it's just going to be him telling us what he can about TUF Brazil. So that's a heads up right there, people. You're going to hear a lot of whatever he can tell us, of course, without breaking the disclosure agreements, the NDA, whatever. They make him sign a lot of shit, man. You got to sign your life away, and obviously he had to have actual bodyguards. We'll ask him a little bit about that now that it's over, that they've all made it safe and sound. Team Sun and Chael, everybody, Scott, Clayton, Vinny, Coach Huey, they've all made it. No, Jake, I can't hear you talking. I just got your message. No, I cannot hear you.
All right.
No, now I can't.
Okay, cool. You can hear me now. Yeah, I was.
How long were you trying to interrupt?
Freaking out.
What's happening?
A couple seconds there. I was just like, I think it's being picked up on the recording, but I don't think Ramses can hear. I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was a headphone issue.
Oh, word. We can. We should just let the man himself, Chael Sonnen, sell it. I have a couple minutes of him giving us a sneak peek of TUF Brazil 3, available only on Fight Pass. Should I cue it up?
Let's do it, man.
What's up, guys? Here we are out on the set of The Ultimate Fighter, Brazil 3. It's in Sao Paulo. I don't completely know what to make of this so far. I can tell you it's been an experience. I did season 17. I did it back in Las Vegas, and it's different. I've done a few interviews out here, and everybody keeps asking me, which is better. Which is, well, check in with me. Check in with me in a week or so. But they're similar. The sets are real similar. They look alike. We got mat space. We got enough bags. We've got an octagon. We got a weight and cardio. So as far as the training goes, which is the emphasis for me and for the guys, it's great. It's going to be just fine. I think it's compatible to Vegas. The living conditions are a little bit different over at the house, but everybody seems to be happy. Vanderlei has been a experience, to say the least. And I compare him to an onion. You peel him back. There just keeps being layers, and it's tough. You know the cartoon? You guys may get this. You know the cartoon where the guy gets super angry and he runs out of ideas, and then smoke starts coming out of his ears? That's happened with Vanderlei a couple of times out of nowhere, where I'm just like, I'm not really sure what just set you off there, but I could see him running out of words, and the smoke starts coming out of his ears. I told him, I go, you're being a little salty to me. I would highly suggest a blander diet, like consider oatmeal or squash or something like that. But he's kind of like, I feel like if all the teams get together and all the coaches get together, we can get him through this. He reminds me of like that feisty grandpa that you see at the holidays. And even though he's old and he's a little bit broken down, he's still got some spirit. He's still got that spunk in him that you would miss. And I think that's what Vanderlei brings to this whole thing. I think he's still got that spirit. And it's like if we can all just help him and get him through this and then to our fight, I will be like the bridge that gets him from that point to retirement, which is where he's headed. But we've got to get him there, and it's going to be a group effort. Anyway, I'm glad to see you all. Keep on checking in. I'm going to be here exclusively with you on Fight Pass, and I'll tell you what's going on behind the scenes.
God damn right he will. Yep, how about that? We have to get him there. We have to get this bum. He has not even signed the contract to fight Chael Sonnen on May 31st in his native home country of Brazil.
I think I gotta start playing the music because he won't sign the damn contract.
I call him out and he covers his mouth like a little fancy boy. I mean, what is that?
They call me fancy boy. You're a love man. Really walking.
Yep, he's a dandy. He's a real fancy boy.
Sharing my boy zigzag.
God bless it, man. Fancy boy, man.
Yo, you know what Vanderlei said that set me off? That, like, look, I'll be frank. A few years ago, when I was first getting into the sport, BJ Penn and Vanderlei Silva were 1-2, my top two favorite fighters in the sport. Vanderlei Silva has acted like such a fucking jackass. What he said this week was, Chael's fight against Shogun Hua, it shouldn't be really counted because Chael is on the TRT. I'm actually gonna look up the direct quote.
He also said Shogun wasn't at his best or some bullshit like that. But yeah, he has been acting.
I'm looking up
like
this quote now. Yeah, and of course the fucking here I'm pausing the fancy boy music just so I can read it. Like, of course the media eats it up because the media loves Vanderlei because he won a bunch of worked fights over in fucking Pride, and he's loved in Japan, and he's got a lot of American fans and a ton of Brazilian fans. This is what he said. Sonnen is a good athlete. I can't underestimate him, but he didn't beat the real Shogun. Shogun gave him the neck. We can't use that fight as a parameter. He showed who he really is against Rashad Evans. He goes in there wanting to quit. When I push him, his spirit will want to go back home. All right. Vanderlei Silva is like, oh my god, this is such a joke, and he's so delusional, and I love it. I love how Vanderlei Silva is going to go in there thinking he's going to destroy Chael, and as the minutes drain on, his just pride is going to get sucked. Like, honestly, I'm saying 50-50 chance we see a Paul Daly type cheap shot after the fight's over, and we see a 30-26 to Chael, because one of the rounds Chael fucking grounded and pounded him so bad, all the judges gave it a fucking 10-8. Ugh.
Yeah, I do agree, man. I think even before, I think we've seen Chael get cheap shotted before during a pre-fight face-off. The stare down with Vanderlei, I mean, they're going to need more than Dana in between the two of them. You know Vanderlei's going to go for some cheap shit.
Get some of those riot cops from Venezuela and the Ukraine over.
Yeah.
Get some riot shields between them.
He's going to take a swing at Chael. I mean, I would put money. What are the Vegas odds on that? Who's willing to bet me? Word on the street bet. So, Vanderlei is going to try to get disqualified. He's probably going to try to punch Chael in the face before the fight, all right? He already did, of course.
I don't expect to Chael. I just expect to shut the fuck up, Vanderlei.
No, but exactly, man. I do believe Chael. Even if I wasn't biased, I would believe him when he says that Vanderlei's behaving like some sort of dumb animal, because I've seen that. That's all I've seen. I believe it. He's joking that he doesn't speak Portuguese or English. He speaks Vanderleis. I agree with that too, man. He's grunting. He's just ranting and raving, not even making sense, slurring his speech in both languages. Whichever one he's going for at the moment. It's ridiculous. I do believe Chael when he says that Vanderlei is being completely out of hand. She was apparently showing up to the filming of The Ultimate Fighter at one point with a mouth guard, and a cup ready on hand at all times for the filming of it. This guy hasn't signed the fight contract because he's scared. He knows exactly what's going to happen, man. Obviously, Joe probably whooped his ass in that little showdown, what we're calling the Brazilian Brawl, which you will only be able to see watching The Ultimate Fighter. They're going to show it. I have that confirmation. So if you want to see that, hold on to your Fight Pass. It costs you $20 just to make it through the season. If that's all you're getting the Fight Pass to watch. But you'll get to see this shit. The Brazilian Brawl that went down. People, Andre Dida, cheap shotting Chael Sonnen, man. It's all going to be shown. You'll see it. It happened. We'll even question. We'll try to press. We'll go. We won't softball Jamie Huey when he comes back on, the coach, man. You better be ready. We're going to press you for details on the Brazilian Brawl, man. We're going to want to know what happened, what we can expect to see. It's all been filmed. It's in the can. He doesn't have to worry about his life. Props to the Brazilian police and private security force, actually, that was hired to take care of Team Sonnen. They did a good job. Everybody's still alive. That's a success, people. A lot of people didn't see that even being possible a couple years ago. Luckily, it all turned around. Everybody's home safe. That in and of itself, gotta say, UFC did a good job protecting your fighters and their teams, setting them up nice. Shout out UFC, security teams in Brazil, private companies, Team Sonnen, and of course Coach Jamie Huey on Twitter. Follow him at Coach Jamie Huey. So yep. Hopefully Wandy's going to sign the goddamn contract. They're going to fight on May 31st in Brazil, headlining that card. But don't be surprised if Vanderlei pulls out mysteriously, randomly, makes up an excuse. Last topic before we get out of here, Jake. Are you ready, man? This one is, of course, the biggest news this week. Gilbert Melendez re-signing with the UFC after being courted by Bellator. They tried their best to lure him away. Of course, Gilbert Melendez was probably playing games the whole time, but taking a big gamble, big risk. I don't believe that the UFC has ever matched another rival company's offer before. This might be the first time that they've done it. It was Gilbert Melendez, 1-1 in the UFC. After having been already, the first time they lured him in and got him to sign, they gave him that instant title shot against Bendo. He lost. And now, after going 1-1, his contract, of course, was up again, and he chose to go for it, man. He went all in. He pushed all his chips in. And guess what? It worked out. He did score another title fight out of the negotiation. Jake, man, I won't even say. I'll get your opinion first. Gilbert Melendez, was this? I mean, are you happy for the guy? You see a problem with this?
I'm so happy for him. I'm so fucking happy for him. The UFC is a smart organization, and without a fighters union, they really have no push to pay fighters a certain amount. And Gilbert Melendez knew that, the UFC, in his eyes, wasn't offering him what he thought he should have been paid. And if anyone who listens to the podcast also plays poker, even if you don't think you might have the best hand, you might think somebody else, there's a chance they have a hand better than you do. Every now and then, you just got to push all in, and you got to put all the chips up and make the other person, really think about it and really think, damn. And that's exactly what Gilbert Melendez did. He pushed all into the UFC. The UFC called, matched, brought him back in. He's going to coach opposite Anthony Pettis in TUF 20. that UFC strawweight championship. We're going to see 2 championships, like I said at the top of the show. Gilbert is such a like in my eyes, he beat Benson in that April 2013 fight, UFC on Fox 4, I think UFC on Fox 7. I don't know. I just remember it was 420. He's won his last 9 fights in my eyes against tough dudes: Josh Thompson twice, Shinya Aoki, Crusher Kawajiri, Masvidal, Bendo, Diego Sanchez. I think, I said, I think a couple months ago, or a few months ago actually, when it was like late 2013, when people were talking about who next for Tony Pettis. And I said I had 3 answers for it. Who deserves it most? TJ Grant. He was granted the title shot, no pun intended, and he's just been injured, not able to fight. If he could fight, I think he, earns it the most over anyone else. Who earns it the most? Grant. What fight do I want to see the most? With a Pettis, I want to see Pettis versus Jose Aldo. That would be an exciting fucking fight. But when it comes down to
track here,
no.
Gilbert
Listen,
Melendez,
when it comes down to
UFC,
it, listen,
dude.
Listen, when it comes down to it, I think the most exciting fight would be Pettis Aldo. I think Grant, earned the title shot and earned it the most. Who do I think are the best 2 lightweights in the UFC? Number 1, number 2. I think Anthony Pettis, number 1, Gilbert Melendez, number 2. I think this is a true fight, number 1 versus number 2, at a division. Like, it seems like rarely title fights nowadays we truly see a number 1 against a number 2 guy. And in this December fight against these 2 people, I mean, you say 1-1 in his last 2, and in his last
UFC.
2. Yeah, but you've got to zoom back and realize when he joined the UFC, he was one of the top 3 lightweights in the world.
I don't do that man.
And his 1 loss against Bendo was not a convincing loss. Most people think Gilbert won that fight. He's won his last 9 fights.
The fact remains, his record is 1-1, and I was there, man. It was the first fight I ever saw live.
And Gilbert dominated him, and Diego tried to fucking swarm. Gilbert had none of it. Gilbert won a convincing decision. I think it was 29-28 and 30-27. Like,
Diego almost knocked that man out, and Diego's a mid-tier guy.
But you can't count that against him, saying, "Oh, he almost knocked him out," because he didn't knock him out. I mean, Gilbert.
Well, you said he totally dominated him, so that's being a little unfair to Diego. At least.
I scored at 30-27.
Diego rocked his ass and hurt him.
I still
worse
gave
than I saw
Gilbert
Diego
the 3rd
get
round.
hurt. It was almost over, man. But Gilbert had recovered. I'll give him that. It was a battle. He was a warrior. But he in the UFC, which is where I judge whether or not you get to compete for a UFC title, he was 1-1. I don't see why this win over Diego Sanchez earns him an immediate title shot. I gotta call bullshit on this.
You can't say his wins in Strikeforce are bullshit, though, because he's fighting a lot of guys who are now in the UFC and doing well. Josh Thompson, he's a top 5 lightweight in the UFC. Gilbert beat him twice. A lot of people think Josh just beat Benson Henderson, who is the number 1 ranked lightweight in the UFC. He finished Crusher Kawajiri in the first round. Crusher is now a top dude at fucking 145. He's like a probably 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot. He just was matched in a fight against Clay Guida. So if he beats Guida, his next fight is probably either a title fight or a title contenders match, just a weight class below. You can't totally not look at what he did in Strikeforce, because what he did was defended his belt, like 5 or 6 times? It was insane.
I gotta say, man, I honestly,
And these Strike
I'm a
Force
UFC
guys
guy,
are all
man.
coming up. Dude, all these Strike Force guys are coming up making waves. You had Nick Diaz get a title shot. You have Daniel Cormier now. You have fucking Jacare coming up. You
And
have
you know what? I
like
haven't seen
Robbie
much that's
Lawler.
impressive
Robbie
from
Lawler
these
is
guys.
fighting for Robbie Lawler, Jacare, fucking you have a lot of dudes. Rumble, or I guess Rumble never fought for Strike Force. But yeah, you've got a lot of solid talent coming out of Strike Force, which is why I'm so glad that Gil's staying in the UFC, because I don't like seeing elite talent in non-UFC fight.
That's what I'm saying,
promotions.
man. The
I
tougher
like the
fights are in
UFC being a monopoly like the fucking NFL.
I'm just saying the tougher fights and tougher competition is in the UFC. I mean, they were never, the UFC and Strikeforce, I don't believe they were ever level against each other as far as the caliber of talent. And I think the UFC always had a slight edge.
But the people
why
he beat in Strikeforce are now in the UFC, is what I'm saying.
Right,
Josh Thompson, he beat twice. Tetsuya Kawajiri, George Masvidal, all these guys, Hadhigo Dam, all these guys are now in the UFC, so you can't say, oh, well, these wins are against non-UFC talent, because all these guys are now in the UFC.
The UFC had the edge on talent at the time when the other organization was existing. I mean, that's a reality.
By
When
a
these
little
guys were
bit, but
fighting
not by a
Strikeforce
lot. I mean, think
or
about it.
the WEC, it wasn't the same caliber of talent as the UFC.
By
It
a little
wasn't
bit,
ever
but
the same.
By a little bit, but not by a lot. Robbie Lawler has not lost in the UFC since leaving Strikeforce. Jacare,
came
same
over
thing. Daniel Cormier, Jacare, Robbie Lawler, Nick Diaz, Thompson,
How many Strikeforce champions became UFC
Melendez.
champions?
You haven't seen the any belts really get passed around much. I mean,
That's what I'm
fucking
saying, man. Why didn't these Strikeforce guys come in and now they're champions of the UFC? Where are they?
You have fucking Ronda Rousey, obviously, who's got a belt, but you have Robbie
give you
Lawler.
that.
You have Robbie Lawler, who is fighting for a belt. You have Daniel Cormier, who's maybe a fight away from fighting for a belt.
Came
you have
over and won
you
a
have
championship.
Jacare. Honestly, they haven't had that much time yet. I mean, Lawler, Rousey, Cormier, Jacare, none of them have lost a fight since coming over from Strikeforce to the UFC. But they need time, and you give it another year. Lawler might be the next welterweight champ. Jacare might be a middleweight champ. Cormier might beat Jones and be a 205 champ. You got to give it time. Melendez, I mean, think about it. At lightweight, you have a Strikeforce guy fighting next for the title. At welterweight, you have a Strikeforce guy fighting next for the title. At middleweight, you have a Strikeforce guy one fight away from the title. At light heavyweight, you have a Strikeforce guy one fight away from the fucking title. In heavyweight, you have Overeem, you have fucking Cormier, you have Bigfoot, who are not Cormier, you have Josh Barnett, you have you have Silva, who previously fought for a title. They haven't necessarily won them, but you fucking got to give it time, because the emerger, I mean, Gilbert didn't have a fight in the UFC until less than a year ago. He fought Benson April 20th, 2013. That was his first fight. In a lot of people's eyes, he won, but the judges gave it a split decision loss. It was one of three very controversial split decision wins for Bendo. It was a one-sided fight against Diego Sanchez. I can't hate on Gilbert at all.
All right, people. Well, we're going to find out. He says give them some time. They haven't had enough time. Will a Strikeforce champion ever make the crossover into UFC besides Ronda Rousey, who I
It'll
believe
be interesting.
she only had, one or two fights?
And it wasn't like Rousey, it wasn't like when Rousey came over, there was existing UFC talent.
Exactly, she was the automatic champion of the UFC.
UFC's talent, whether Tate, Carmouche, Kaufman, Rousey, all of them were Strikeforce fighters. So it's not really, like whoever won out of that pack, they were going to be a Strikeforce fighter.
That's true. Ronda Rousey did convert over to the UFC, instantly becoming the champion. But I mean, she's proven that she was deserving of it. Definitely, she's whooping everybody's ass put in front of her. She's doing the best she can do. But will other Strikeforce champions follow her lead and also become UFC champions? We'll follow Jake's advice. We'll see at the end of the year. But we are going to wrap.
Cyborg?
I don't think that's going to happen this year.
All right, we'll see.
But we will draw a conclusion in this week's episode of the Word on the Street podcast, people. We are done. Thank you for joining us once again. I am Ramses coming at you, the Ant Jimmy Show on Twitter, the Ant Jimmy Show on Twitter. Jake from the MMA podcast, where can people find you? What do you hear? What do you say?
Follow us on Twitter at the MMA Podcast. We do it at the same time on Wednesday nights. The official time is midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. We'll probably start 10-15 minutes late as usual because we're bullshitting, doing illegal type shit. But we really appreciate you supporting the Word on the Street, the MMA Podcast. You can subscribe to every show, Word on the Street, the MMA Podcast, the MMA Roundtable. Just go to themmapodcast.com, click the iTunes tab toward the top, and subscribe to us on iTunes. We're pretty good about throwing the episodes up within a couple hours of them going live. We also have the YouTube channel. Subscribe to us, Word on the Street, the MMA Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, the MMA Podcast. Ramses, I love the shit out of you. I love the shit on the Word on the Street. And this was the Word on the Street.
Hell yeah. Thank you, people, for tuning in. I just want to say real quick, hopefully we're still on. Shout out to our friend, former guest on the show,
Swayze
Valentine, making her debut as the UFC's first official cut woman. She took care of her business. She looked gorgeous doing it. UFC pimped her out. Well, you know what I mean. They tweeted her out. They pumped her up. And of course, she did a damn good job. Nobody bled to death, as far as I know. God bless her. Swayze Cut Girl on Twitter. Check out that interview we did with her a couple months ago if you want. But congratulations to her and everybody.
Also,
Thank you for tuning in.
Also, check out our interview with Aljamain Sterling we did a few months ago. 2 stars from UFC 170. Swayze Valentine, Aljamain Sterling. We both interviewed him. Check out the interviews.
Hell yeah, people. And we'll see you next week. And of course, on the MMA podcast tomorrow. Thank you so much. We are out.
Take me through it.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you won't get. Don't you ever talk about me.
Who was talking about you?
Crabtree, don't you open your mouth about the best. Or I'm gonna set it for you real quick.